One Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Sheshto Adhyaya. We have come to chapter 6. Atma Samyama Yoga. Or it is also called Dhyana Yoga. I have been telling that Krishna has been called Yogeshwara by Sanjaya. But we have been considering Patanjali as the establisher of yoga, man who proposed yoga. Historically, I don't know who came first, but all that is there in Patanjali Yoga Shastra is there in Bhagavad Gita. But Patanjali has given more importance to the physical exercise and other part. Let me tell you in short what Patanjali's 8 steps of Patanjali Yoga Sutra are. They are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. There are 8 steps. The first step is Yama. Yama has 6 important 5 things to follow in the very beginning. That is non-violence. If a man is violent, mind is violent, he is not fit for yoga. So the first thing to be told is, if you want to be a yogi, you must be non-violent. Second one, truthfulness. Unless a man can speak truth, his heart is pure, so he is not fit to become a yogi. And the third one is non-stealing. I don't think this needs an explanation. You must not think of getting any other's property. And then brahmacharya, that is, he must be able to have orientation towards God or have a thinking to realize God, that is brahmacharya. And aparigraha, not taking unnecessary money from different people. These 5 are the steps in Yama that is to be followed. And Niyama also has got 5 further divisions. Number 1, purity of heart and body. Contentment. When a man is not contented with what he has, he can never think of becoming a peaceful man. Therefore, Niyama recognize content as one of the characters. Third one is tapas. One must be able to remember God every time, that's called tapas. And then swadhyaya. He must be able to study the scripture that he belongs to, that is swadhyaya. Every day it must be done. Not doing one day and forgetting it, no, swadhyaya. And then surrender to God. Ishvara pranidhana it is called, surrender to God. So these are the 5 important parts associated with Niyama. Asana, as you all know, many physical exercise, including sitting in Padmasana for a long time. Then pranayama, we all know, controlling the breath. Krishna also mentioned in 4th chapter, there are what are called pranayama parayanas, pranayama. And pratyahara, withdrawal of senses from their sense objects is called pratyahara. And the next one is dharana or concentration. Concentration must be practiced, that is dharana. And dhyana. Dhyana is an important aspect of spirituality in all religions. Remembering God constantly is dhyana. And then ultimately what is called samadhi, the oneness of Atman with Paramatma, is samadhi. Now United Nations Organization also has recognized Indian yoga, and we have Yoga Day every year, and it is practiced in many countries. But Krishna is said to be Yogeshwara. So in this chapter he teaches us what is to be done to have a control over the mind. So this is a wonderful chapter, one of the finest chapter for people who want to do yoga. Let us start from the first shloka. First one is told by Krishna himself, Bhagavan Vacha. Anashrita karma palam karyam karma karotiha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriha. Krishna himself is saying this one. Without depending on the result of what we do, if we can do our work, such a man is a sannyasi as well as a yogi. That is what the wonderful thing Krishna says. He is not a sannyasi who has just left Agni. Naniragnir na chakriyaha, that is there. Sannyasis do not have to do any performance in fire, any do oblation in fire. There is no necessity of fire for sannyasis. And also, na chakriyaha. Yogi who doesn't do any work, so that is not a yogi, that is not a sannyasi. Who has left fire is not a sannyasi. Who has left doing work is not a sannyasi. But he who does his work and doesn't depend on the result of his work is said to be a sannyasi and yogi both. It's wonderful. So who is a sannyasi, who is a yogi? Krishna tells here, he who does all the work that he has to do in his position and doesn't expect anything in return is called sannyasi and yogi. Wonderful. We go to the next one. Yam sannyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kasyana. Continuing, Krishna says, that which is told sannyasa is nothing but yoga, Arjuna. That is what he says to Arjuna. Because none becomes a yogi who has not abandoned his sankalpa or thoughts in the world. So if one has not left the desire at all, he can never be considered himself a sannyasi. And sannyasa and yoga are said to be the same by Krishna. Again here, we go to the next one. Arukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamah karana uchyate. To the contemplative soul who desires to attain karma yoga, selfless action is said to be the means. Selfless action, if one does not do, he cannot be considered a karma yogi at all. For the same man, when he is established in yoga, in the absence of sankalpa, and is said to be the way to the blessedness. When sankalpa is not there, man is blessed. That is what Krishna tells in the third shloka. We go to the next one. Yadahi nendriyarteshu nakarmashanushajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudas tadochyate. Continuing, Krishna is saying, when a man ceases to have any attachment for the objects of senses and for actions, and has renounced all sankalpas, that is thoughts about the world, he is said to have attained yoga. Yogi is he who doesn't desire anything, who does everything in his possession, what he has to do, what he ought to do, what is his duty to do, but doesn't expect anything. That man is a wonderful yogi. Yoga rudastadochyate, Krishna tells him, that man is said to be a wonderful yogi. We go to the next one. Uddhared atmana atmanam natmanam avsade atmayva hyatmano bandhu ratmayva ripuratmana. Underline this one. Nobody will come to our help unless we shout, unless we make an effort to come out, unless we try to win over our mind. Krishna also tells us, Uddhared atmana atman. One has to lift oneself up. Uddharet atmanam atmanam natmanam avasadayet. You must not let yourself go down. That's what he says. You must lift yourself up. You must not allow yourself to go down, because one is one's friend, and one's mind is one's friend, and one's mind is one's enemy. Wonderful it is. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. For each one, he himself is a bandhu, that he himself is a relative, that is a good friend. Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. And enemy is also himself. Our mind is our friend as well as our enemy. If our mind can control everything that we have to do, and our senses do not act without listening to what mind says, Such a man is really a fine man. He is happy within himself. So he says, everybody, uddhared atmanatmanam, everyone has to do his own upliftment in this world. Nobody else will come. Even if a baby doesn't cry, even mother doesn't give milk to the baby properly. So one has to do work, one has to try to come up in life. If not, there is no help from any side in this world. That is wonderfully said in this shloka. We go to the next one. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmai vatmanajitaha anatmanastu shatrutve varteyit atmaiva shatruvat. Continuing the same thought, Krishna says, one who has win over himself is a friend for himself. It's not an external friend. One's mind is a friend for himself. Bandhuratmatmanastasya, for whom? He has won over himself. One who has won over his nature, his mind, his senses, is a bandhu for himself. Anatmanastu shatrutve vartayit atmat shatruvat. If he has not won over himself, then he is enemy to himself. So these two, you can also underline the 6th shloka. It's also wonderful. And these two are really interesting because even God will not come unless one makes an effort to realize God. Even peace of mind will not come unless one thinks about himself and tries to know what is the way to gain peace in this world. So these two are the wonderful shlokas, I believe, in this chapter. We go to the next one. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukhadukkeshu tata manavapamanayoh. Continuing, Krishna says, the Supreme Spirit is rooted in the knowledge of the self-controlled man whose mind is perfectly serene in the midst of pairs of opposites. Though we live in a world which is full of sorrows, if we realize that it is a thing that comes and goes, and we bear everything really well, the opposites such as joy and sorrow, cold and heat, honor and ignominy, then if we know this art of bearing two equally, we know what is prashantatma, what is peaceful living. That's a wonderful thing. That is the thing that is to be earned by yoga. We go to the next one. Jnana vijnana truptatma kutasto vijitendriya yukta ityuchyate yogi samalosthashma kanchana. Continuing, Krishna says, the yogi whose mind is seated with the jnana, or yogi who knows well, and vijnana. In the next chapter we are going to say jnana is theoretical knowledge, vijnana is the practical knowledge of what we know. If we know that all people, everybody, every living being has God within it, that is jnana. If you can see God in every living creature, every living being, that is vijnana. So jnana vijnana truptatma, he says, one who knows it and one who has also realized it. Kutasto vijitendriya, he who has got control over his indriyas, senses. Yukta ityuchyate yogi samalosthashma kanchanaha. And then he is a yogi who sees pebbles, mud and gold equally. That's wonderful. Samalosthashma kanchana means earth, stone and gold are considered equal by him. There is an interesting story told about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. A man wanted to test Ramakrishna Paramahamsa whether he had realized this truth of Samalosthashma kanchana. He has any craving for money, etc. He wanted to know. So he put in rupee note under his bed. This was not known to Ramakrishna, so he went to bed. Night he was so much irritated, as if there were bugs in the bed. He got up, cleaned his bed, and found the note by himself, and then, opening the door, he threw out and came back and slept, it is said in this story. Whether it happened in his life or not, it's a wonderful thing. Samudrashtashma Kanchanaha means one must be perfect in happiness and sorrow, wealth or no wealth. Everywhere if he is one, he is a happy man. We go to the next one. Surun Mitra Ridasena Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhushu Sadhushu Picha Bapeshu Sambuddhir Vishishyate. Continuing, Krishna says, he who looks upon well-wishers and neutrals, Surun Mitra Ridasena, with friends and enemies and neutrals, he has the same feeling. He doesn't have a different feeling for different people, as well as the mediators, friends and foes, relatives and inimicals. The virtuous and sinful with equanimity stands supreme. Such person is considered supreme. Whoever comes, he will look upon him as a creature which has God in him. I think we read in the 5th chapter, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shvanichayva Shvapakecha Panditas Samadarshinaha. A great man is he who sees the same person in an educated man, in a polite person, in a Brahman, cow, elephant, dog, and even the dog eater. If he makes any differentiation between one animal and another animal as higher and lower, he has not realized the truth of realized the Atman or Brahman, whatever it is. So here also it is repeated in a simple manner. You go to the next one. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasistitaha ekakiyata chittatma nirashir aparigraha. Krishna is giving us a beautiful training as to how we should do yoga. Living in seclusion all by himself. How can we do this in a society like this? How can we be alone in a society like this? At least we must be able to find time for that in a day. So that is the best thing that we can do. Seclusion all by himself. Yogi who has controlled his mind and body, whose mind is under control, whose body is under control, and he is free from desires. Yogi is a person who has no desire to achieve something. Void of possessions. I think in the very first video that you saw, why Bhagavad Gita, I told you of a sannyasi who had only one set of dress to wear it the next day. Apart from that, he didn't have anything with him. I have seen a man like that. So I want to remember you again. Hasn't got any possession, should constantly engage his mind in meditation. That man with such goodness and still engage in meditation. Now in 2 or 3 shlokas, Krishna wonderfully initiates anybody who is willing to take Krishna's advice, how to do meditation. What has one to concentrate on? What he should do? What he should not do? How he can gain control over himself? Everything is being told. Let us start with the first one. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya sthiramanasam natyuchritam natinicham cheilajina kushottaram. Where he starts? He starts from the very basic of how to sit for meditation. Shuchev deshe pratisthapya. Sit in a pure place. Sit in a worthy place. Sit in a clean place. Shuchev deshe pratisthapya sthiramanasam atmanah. Perfectly having control over the self, and natyuchritam, not very high, not very low. Sitting for meditation is also an interesting thing. You must not sit very high, not very low, and then what? Chailajina kushottaram. Underline this. It was the time when deer skin was everywhere. First darba grass was spread on the ground, then a deer skin was put on above that, and after that a cloth was put for meditation. As this is not available nowadays, we can have a very pure cloth to sit for meditation. You can also imagine there is darba and also deer skin. There is nothing wrong in imagining. So wonderful shloka it is. You have to underline. Sit in a pure place, firmly, not very high, not very low, spreading kusha grass, over that deer skin, and above that a cotton sheet. And on that you sit for meditation. That is the first thing he tells us what we have to do meditation. It's not sitting somewhere where there is a dirty thing is there or bad smell is coming. We must sit in a good place for meditation. Tatraikagram manakrutva yatachittendriya kriya upavishyasane yunjyat yogamatma vishuddhe. He told you how to sit, and then he says, occupying that seat. Which one? Jailajina Kushottaram. That seat, concentrating the mind and controlling the functions of the mind and senses. Concentrating the mind and controlling the functions of the mind and senses, and should practice yoga for self-purification. Wonderful. Yoga Mahatma Vishuddhaya, underline that one. Why should we yoga? Why should we do yoga? For our own purification. It is not you are doing it for God, it is you are doing it for your own purification. That is what exactly Krishna tells us. Yoga Mahatma Vishuddhaye. For purification of yourself you have to do yoga, sitting in the seat told in the previous shloka. We go to the next one. Samam kaya shiro grivam darem achalam stiraha sampreksha nasikagram swam dishaschan avalokayan. See, what a wonderful training. Samam kaya shiro grivam. What fine. Holding the trunk, head and neck straight. You cannot sit any way you like to do meditation. Sit in a straight position, wherein your trunk, head and neck are straight and steady, remaining firm in fixing the gaze on the tip of nose. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharen nachalam stiram sampreksha nasikagram swam. You must concentrate on your third eye position, the beginning of the nose area. Probably this area Krishna has been referring to. We have to remember nasikagram swam dishaschan avalokayan. Do not look at any of the directions. Sit quietly in a firm place. Close your eyes and sit firmly, concentrating on the third eye position or Agnya Chakra area. That is what is called in yoga system. So, dishaschan avalokayan, that is the thing Krishna tells a man to do it. Prashantatma vigatabihi brahmachari vrute stitaha manas samyamya muccitto yukta asita matparaha. Continuing he says, firm in the vow of complete chastity and fearlessness. A man must be fearless in order to be a yogi. Keeping himself perfectly calm. Prashantatma, that is the wonderful thing. Unless we are Prashantatmas, there is no yoga for us. And whatever hardship you have got, you must learn to have belief in God and have a belief that He will take care of our problems. Only we have to do some thinking and go on doing. Worry doesn't solve our problems or anybody's problem. It is thinking that solves the problem, not the worry. So perfectly calm, with the mind held in restraint and fixed on me, concentrating on God. As many schools as there are in the world teaching yoga, they all think they have been giving you a new idea to do meditation. The ultimate meditation taught by Bhagavan Krishna, Yogeshwara, whom Sanjaya calls Yogeshwara, is the ultimate. They will tell it in different way. if we can sit in a position with calmness, if we are able to stop our thinking, being awake, that is the highest that one can achieve in the yoga. Because Dhyana Atmani Pashyanti, that's what we read. Or Dhyana Avastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginam, that's what we said in our prayers. We see God in the Dhyana Avastita Tadgatena Manasa. In the Dhyana Avastha, our mind reaches there where we will have the ultimate bliss. That is nothing less than God Himself. Perfectly calm, with the mind held in restraint and fixed on God, vigilant yogi should sit absorbed in me. As long as you can sit without thinking like this, longer you can sit, a yogi you are. Or yogi anybody, that's what Krishna says. Here is the secret. Krishna reveals through Arjuna to each one who wants to learn yoga, to each one who wants to develop his personality, to each one who wants to come up in life, to each who wants to realize God. Krishna tells this, he is yogi, must be able to sit like this. Highest tension if you can leave everything and sit without thinking for a few minutes. You are on the right path to the God realization, to the Atma Shuddhi, that is what he says. We go to the next one. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyata mansaha shantim nirvana paramam mat samstam adhigacchati. What happens when we sit like this? Constantly applying his mind to me. Mind goes out, still bring it back, concentrate on God. Constantly applying his mind to me, yogi of disciplined mind attains everlasting peace. Look here, Dhyana Atmani Pashyanti, I have been telling that is the ultimate thing. In Dhyana we see God. Dhyana Avastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginam, other prayer we mentioned, that is where we see God. So he says, everlasting peace consisting of supreme bliss. Shantim Nirvana Paramam, underline that one. This is what Buddha said. This is what Krishna is saying. This is what Patanjali said. This is what any teacher of yoga anywhere in the world, because there are 180 countries or so which have accepted yoga as a method to improve their physical health as well as the mental, have been trying to do. The supreme bliss consisting of the supreme bliss which abides in me. So, supreme bliss is a position where you are really in God Himself. That is what Krishna tells. Underline that 15th shloka. Wonderful it is. We go to the next one. Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikanta manashnataha nachati swapnashilasya jagrato naivacharjuna. This is exactly why Krishna is a Yogeshwara. You must be able to live happily, well, and for a very long time. He has been giving the principle for that. Look at the beauty, underline this and study it. I usually tell, after 40 or 45, someday you go to the doctor and he tells you, oh, you have got sugar, don't eat sugar. And another man finds you have got blood pressure, he tells you not to take salt. And you also have a complaint of irritation in your stomach, and another man says you have got acidity, don't take anything hot. Don't take oil because your heart is in trouble. So, we will be asked to leave everything before we leave our body. That is what is happening nowadays. If that should not happen, we must have restraint over our food system. Krishna tells a wonderful thing here. Natyashnatastu yogosti. Yoga is not for that man who eats too much. Underline it. Notice it. Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikanta manashnataha. If a man doesn't eat at all, thinks that he has been doing yoga, Krishna tells him, no, you can't have yoga. Chaikanta manashnataha. So for him also anashnata, he who doesn't eat also doesn't have yoga. Nachati swapnaseelasya. If you sleep too much, you can't have yoga. Jagrato naivacharjana. I don't sleep at all, I have been doing yoga. No. Yoga is perfectly a moderate method of living. If you want to be a yoga, you must be moderate. Moderate in eating, moderate in your work, moderate in your sleep, moderate in your waking state. This is what Buddha also said. He didn't tell about the extremes. He told us the middle path. Krishna said it before, many thousands years before Buddha said it. Look at this. So, wonderful shloka it is, you have to underline. So I repeat, Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikanta manashnataha nachati swapnashelasya jagrato naivacharjana. Continuing he says, Yuktahara viharasya. Look, underline this also. Yuktahara viharasya. He who is moderate in his food and exercise. Yuktahara viharasya. Yukta chestasya karmasu. And in his work. Yukta swapnavabodhasya. And in his sleep and being awake. Yogo bhavati dukkha. For that man, yoga will become remover of the sorrows. Yoga will remove all his sorrows. Underline this. This is wonderful. You have to do exercise. Supposing a man tells you, a yoga teacher tells you, you do this exercise, your diabetes will be cured. If you go on doing it for hours, no, it may bring you some other problem. It is just like salt. Our Prime Minister was telling one day, yoga. It must be there to a certain level, as salt is there in our food. That is what Krishna tells in Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu. Yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. For a man who is awake and also asleep at definite times, for him yoga will remove all his sorrows. That's a wonderful thing. You can underline that shloka also. You go to the next one. Yada viniyatam chittam atmannevavatistate nispruha sarva kamebhyo yukta ityuchyate tada. When the mind, which is thoroughly disciplined, gets riveted in God alone, when mind thinks nothing beyond God himself, or when you can sit without thinking for some time, that is the reaching of the highest bliss alone, then a person who is free from yearning for all enjoyments is said to be established in yoga. If that happens, if you do not have a desire to do a lot of things, earn a lot of things, or greedy to have possessions of things, then you are a yogi. That is what Krishna tells us. We go to the next one. Yata dipo nivatasto ningate sopama smrta yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmana. In one of the yoga classes, I saw using a lamp for yoga. A lamp is kept on a table. All round the students sit, yoga students sit, concentrating only on yoga. There isn't any wind, therefore the flame also doesn't flicker, and our mind also must not flicker. That is the lesson for us to learn here. Yatha dipo nimatasto, as a lamp in a windless place, ningate sopama smrtaha, doesn't waver, is an example for the mind. Yogino yata chittasya. For yogi, this is an example. As flame does not flicker in a windless place, such is this stated to be the picture of a disciplined mind of the yogi practicing meditation on God. There is not much difference between the two. Mind must be able to be peaceful for a long time. So that is the meditation according to Krishna. We go to the next one. Yatroparamate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaiva atmanatmanam pashyan atmani tushyati. And then what he says? The state in which the chitta subdued through the practice of yoga. Yoga practice brings control over our chitta or mind stuff, becomes passive. So you can sit without thinking for a long time, in which realizing God through this subtle reason purified by meditation on God. And I told you that bliss itself is God, realizing God like that. The soul rejoices only in God. You sit in a pleasant position for hours together with practice. People think, oh, if I sit like this, it should happen to me today. No, it must be a lifetime practice to do sadhana. Maybe sometimes more than one life. One must be having belief in God that he will achieve this in this or some other life. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhigrahe matindriyam veti yatra nachayvayam stitaschalati tattvataha. Such a man doing yoga, what kind of happiness he enjoys, Krishna explains, in which the Atman experiences the eternal super sensuous joy. That's not an ordinary joy, it's a super sensuous joy which can be intuited only through the subtle and purified intellect. So it can be seen only, not by ordinary people, it can only be seen by highest buddhi intellect, wherein established in that the yogi moves not from the truth on any account. So he will be established in yoga, that man, he will gain the ultimate bliss. That bliss is, as Upanishad said, yatha vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. This joy is such that words fail, mind fail, everything fail. Only it is to be experienced by a man who is a yogi. That bliss, Krishna says, one can attain with this yoga. We go to the next one. Yam labdva chaparam labam manyate nadikam tataha yasmin stito nadukkena gurunapi vichalyate. That joy, on getting which no other joy will be sought after. That's the ultimate joy. When once he sees it, he doesn't return. Yam labdva chaparam labam manyate nadikam tata. He thinks that no other joy is equivalent to that. Yasmin stito, in staying in that joy, nadukkena gurunapi. Even the highest sorrow cannot disturb him. That is the nature of a yogi. That is the nature of a man who does yoga. That is why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is called a Yogeshwara. So he has been teaching us to get a joy which is no equivalent anywhere else. Only it must be experienced in doing yoga. So we go to the next one. Tam vidya dukkha samyogam viyogam yoga sangitam sanischayena yuktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa. That state called yoga, which is free from contact of sorrow. There won't be any sorrow for a man who is a real yogi, should be known. That is to be understood, that is to be known, that is to be realized, that is to be lived in. So that is what he says. Nay, this yogi should be resolutely practiced with an unwavered mind. This yoga must be practiced with a resolute mind. If not, you will not get it. So, yam labdva nanivartante taddama parampadam. That is what it says. Once you get it, you will not return. But to get it, you have to work hard. And unless you work hard, you won't get it. Even after getting it, you have to retain it, he says. You go to the next one. Sankalpa prabhuvan kaman stektvan sarvan asheshataha manassayvendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha. Completely renouncing all desires. With will, sankalpa prabhavan kaman sarvam tektvan. He must not have left with any of the desires on earth. Manassayvendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha. Fully restraining all senses from all sides by the mind. It must be practiced, it must be followed, it must be practiced every day in order to get it. Krishna is not saying that it is easy to get it. But he also says those who practice will get it. Those who have patience will definitely see it. We go to the next one. Shanai shanai ruparame buddhya dhruti gruhitiya atma samstam manakrutva nakinchiyadapi chintayet. What should we do to get that joy? Where is the way to that joy? Shanai shanai ruparame. He should, through gradual practice, attain this tranquility. It's not one day, oh, I sat, I closed my eyes and I realized God. It never happened to anybody like this. It is an outcome of a constant practice, and fixing the mind on God through reason controlled by steadfastness. He should not think of anything else. But for God he has nothing in his mind. But for Atman he has nothing in his mind. He sits so silently, without ego. When without ego we can sit for a moment. That is the highest shining that a man gets in his Atman, gets in himself. So that is what to be got by gradual practice. That is what Krishna tells Arjuna, and Krishna tells me and you too. We go to the next one. Yatho yato nischarati manaschanchalamastheram tato tato niyammetad atmannyo vasham nayet. Krishna doesn't tell you, you do it, you get it. Within 1 day or 2 days or 1 life or 2 life. He tells us to have plenty of patience. Yato yato nischarati. Mind goes here and there. That's its nature. Yatho yato nischarasi. When mind goes hither and there now and then, manas chanchalam astiram. It goes out because it is chanchala, it is wavering and it is unfirm. Mind is wavering, chanchalam and astiram. That's what Krishna himself says. Tato tato niyammetad. Again and again you have to bring it back. Tato nato niyammetad atmannyo vasham nayet. Bringing it back again and again, you must sit in that state of egolessness. Mind comes in and enters, and it brings some desire in us. Should not allow it. Mind should be perfectly controlled. Mind should be perfectly calmed. In the calmness of the mind we have this light. That is the beautiful thing that he says. You can underline this one. Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalamastheram tato tato niyammetad atmannyo vasham nayet. You have to control it and repeatedly fix your mind on God, mind on Atman, then you get it, he says. Then we go to the next one. Prashanta manasamhyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. Continuing, Krishna says, Prashanta manasamhyenam, that is the pleasant mind one has. The yogi whose mind is perfectly serene, perfectly calm, Prashanta manasamhyenam, who is sinless, whose passion is subdued, no passions left, subdued, who is identified with Brahman. This Atman is not very different from Brahman when desireless condition a man attains. The embodiment of truth. He is the embodiment of truth. He is the embodiment of God. Knowledge and bliss. Embodiment of truth, knowledge and bliss. All the three is himself. Supreme happiness comes as a matter of course. Then a man will be in the supreme happiness. That is the happiness we are trying to reach in our meditation. That is the happiness that Krishna initiates all those who want to learn Bhagavad Gita through his shlokas. We ought to get it. It's his desire. Those who have been sincerely working will get it. That's what God promises us to. We go to the next one. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnata. This sinless yogi, thus uniting his small Atman with the God himself, Atman with Brahman, easily enjoys the eternal bliss. Easily enjoys that bliss, that peaceful state of mind. That wonderful state where living won't be a sorrow, living won't bring any sorrow or unhappiness or distress. It is just a joy of living. Joyous, eternal bliss of oneness with Brahman. This state is Advaita status. When you sit without ego for a minute, whenever it becomes possible, you are one with the ultimate. That is why in our Dhyana shloka we said, Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti, that is one. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino, that is another which I drew your attention so many times because those are the two clue for us to what we have been learning in Bhagavad Gita. So that is going to happen. Atman becomes Brahman, or it dissolves in Brahman. We come out when the mind is open. When he opens the mind, then again he is a dualistic person. Egoless condition, he gets one with the universal consciousness. We go to the next one. Sarvabhutastam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshina. What would happen to a man who has seen that bliss, that highest bliss? So he says yogi who is united in identity with all pervading infinite consciousness, whose vision is everywhere, is even behold the self existing in all beings, and all beings as assumed in the self. That is, he sees Brahman in himself, he sees Brahman in everybody. Other words, he sees God in himself, he sees God in others also. That will happen when this state of bliss is attained to. Sarvabhutastam atmanam. So he sees himself in all other living beings. Sarvabhutani, all other beings he sees in himself. Ikshate yoga yukta atma sarvatra samadarshinaha. This man sees everybody equal. So for him, again we are coming back to the shloka of 5th chapter. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shvapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. Wonderful was that shloka. However I repeat it, it is insufficient. So this one also leads us to that feeling, that state of mind where a man sees God in everybody. We go to the next one. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Coming to the next shloka, again a wonderful one. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. That man who sees me everywhere. Sarvancha mai pashyati. I will see him from every side. Look at the beauty. God is with you. I usually say on your left, on your right, on your front, on your back, above, below, and ultimately within us also there is God. That's what he is saying. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pashyati. I will look after him from every side. Tasyaham na pranashyami. There is not a time when I am not there for him. So he is there for me every time. Such a man apranashyati. He also sees me every time and every direction, me only. I also see him. That is a beautiful relation between the God and the man. The egoless man is looked after by God. In fact, he turns himself to be a God and becomes a wonderful personality. That is what is Dhyana Yoga are to teach us. So this one, underline it. I will repeat the shloka. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Sarvabhuta stitam yomam bhajatvekatva mastitaha sarvata vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. The yogi who is established in union with me like this worships me as residing in all beings as his very Atman. So whatever is there in me is there in everybody. He sees God in himself and he sees God in everybody else. Though engaged in all forms of activities, So he is doing a different work on this earth. It could be anything that he is doing for making a living, but he dwells in me. That is the greatness of a devotee, greatness of a Dhyana yogi, according to Krishna. Wonderful it is. So Arjuna listens all these things. We go to the next one. Atmaupamena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadiva dukkam sayogi paramomata. Continuing, he tells Arjuna, he who looks on all as one, on an analogy of his own self, his own Atman, and looks upon the joy and sorrow of all equally. So joy is equal to him, sorrow is equal to him. Such a yogi is deemed to be the highest of all. This is the ultimate state. So don't think when once a man realizes Atman, he will have four hands like Vishnu or so. He will be that man only in all sincerity. So that is, he says, highest of all. That is the highest state that a man can attain. That will happen in this Dhyana Yoga. So after listening to such wonderful person, Arjuna had asked a question when he spoke about the nature of a perfect man. He had asked the question about Sthita Prajna. I think you remember that one. So here again he gets certain doubts. And so Arjuna asks his questions. Arjuna vacha. Yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana yetasyaham napashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. Krishna, you speak these words with your yoga ability. Yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana. You speak it with equanimity, this state. Yetasyaham napashyami, but I am not able to see it because of chanchalatva sthitim sthiram, because of my quality of wavering nature. I am not able to see it. Owing to the restlessness of the mind, I do not perceive the stability of the things of this yoga in the form of equanimity, which you have just spoken. I am not able to see what you have been saying. How could it be? Again he questions to explain it more. And he continues, Chanchalam mihimana Krishna pramathi balavadrudam tasyaham nigraham manni vayoriva sudushkaram. Underline this shloka. Of all the questions that Arjuna asked Krishna, I consider this question to be the best of his questions. He really reveals what human beings are. Or he really reveals what I am and what you are and what everybody is. Chanchalam mana Krishna. Krishna, mind is wavering. Mind is fickle. Chanchalam mana Krishna pramati. That is, it is repeating. Supposing you have got a sorrow, you have got a worry, you want to leave that worry, but again, whether you know it or not, it is back in the same place. So, pramati balavadrudam, that is, it is strong and firm. Mind is wavering, repeating, strong and firm. Tasyaham nigraham manne vayoriva sudushkaram. Controlling it is like trying to control the blowing wind with our hands. That is what I believe he says. That is, Arjuna says, it is probably difficult to control this wavering mind. What should I do? That is the question. Wonderful. Tasyaham nigraham manne, winning over that I consider vayoriva sudushkaram. As if to control the wind with our hands, it is difficult to do so. What a wonderful question it is. It is my question, your question, everybody's question, why our mind is behaving like this. Krishna has to answer Arjuna's questions. Bhagavan vacha. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyancha grihite. Underline this also. Great is the question, greater is the answer. Greater is the answer, the greater is the question, the greatest is the answer. Krishna doesn't say, I bless you, it will happen to you. But he says, look, asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam. Doubtlessly, Arjuna, to win our mind is difficult. Underline this one. We have to practice life after life, if need be, to win over the minds. Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam. To win over the mind is definitely difficult, Arjuna, he says. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyan sakruhyate. But what is difficult is not impossible. He says immediately, abhyasa, constant practice and detachment from the world. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyan sakruhyate. And then repeated practice and dispassion. Vairagya. From these you can win over. Here is the answer for Arjuna's question. Krishna didn't say, I will bless you, you will get it. It is difficult, he says. Yes, it is difficult, Krishna says. But what is difficult is not impossible. By constant practice, you will be able to do it, he says. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyan cha gruhyate. By abhyasa and vairagya, you will be able to win over the flickering mind. The natural chanchala nature of the mind, you will be able to overcome. That is what he says. Continuing, he says, asamyatatmana yogo dushprapaiti me matihi vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo avaptum upayataha. The yoga is difficult of achievement by one whose mind is not subdued by him. So if we have no control over our mind, then yoga is not at all possible. We must try to do it. However, who has the mind under his control? For a man who has control over his mind, then what happens? And ceaselessly striving, it can easily be attained through practice. Such is my conviction. That is the conviction of God for all of us. If we are striving for that, we have to get it. If our sincere desire is to get it, we will get it. That's what he promises. Then Arjuna has a further question. So he asks, Arjuna vacha, ayati shraddhayo upeta yogaschalita manasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kangatim Krishna gacchati. Arjuna gets a natural doubt. Suppose a man is striving to get this bliss through his meditation. Say he has spent half of his life in order to get it, but doesn't reach the goal. So he discards and comes back to his ordinary lifestyle. So now his question is, neither he got siddhi in the spiritual world, nor he got siddhi in the practical world, economical world, aprapa yoga. So what would happen to that man who tried sincerely for realization but doesn't realize? Halfway he died. What would happen to him? Aprapa yoga samsiddhim kagatim Krishna gacchati. Where does he go? Krishna, tell me. Whether he goes to higher lives, or whether he would go to the lower lives again. That is his question. Wonderfully he asks, and continue he says, Kachinno brashtaha chinna prameva nashyati apratishto mahabaho vimodo brahmanapati. So he has not had worldly success because he wanted to have the spiritual joy, but he could not achieve it. So he neither has this nor has that. Swerved from the path of leading to the God realization without anything to stand upon, he is lost like the scattered cloud. He is lost like a scattered cloud, deprived of both God realization and heavenly enjoyment. Both he has lost. Worldly enjoyment he has lost, God he has not realized. What would happen to that man? He wanted that, he didn't get. He could have succeeded in life, but he did not want this one, wanted to get other one. So what would happen to that man who neither succeeds in worldly life nor succeeds in spiritual life? That is the doubt. So he is asking Krishna, Etanme samshayam Krishna chetumarnyasya seshataha twadanya samshayasyasya chettana hyupapadyate. Arjuna is telling this. These are my doubts, Krishna. Etanme samshayam Krishna chetumarnyasya seshataha. Only you are able to solve my doubts. You are the only person who can solve my doubts completely. Asheshataha. Tvadanyaha samshayasyasya chettana upapadya. Who else can I go and see to solve my problem? When you have Bhagavad Gita in your hand, you have got God directing you. That's what you have to believe. That's exactly what Arjuna says. Tvadanyaha samshayasyasya. Leaving you, who else can solve my doubts? I don't see anybody who can solve this one. Etanme samshayam Krishna chetumarasya sheshataha twadanya samshayasyasya chetyana upapadyate. Krishna, only you are capable to remove this doubt of mine completely, for none other than you can dispel this doubt. Same thing Nachiketa tells to Yama when he asks the question, is there any permanent thing in the temporary bodies? I can't expect to get a better teacher than you. Here also Arjuna cannot expect to get a better teacher than Krishna himself. Not only Arjuna, we also can't get a better teacher than Krishna himself. That is the nature of a person, God. So he asks, there is nobody who can solve my problem, only you have to do it. Will you do it? He requests Krishna to solve his problems. And Krishna has to answer, Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krit kaschitu durgatin tata gacchati. Krishna answers, Arjuna, there is no fall for him either here or hereafter, for none who strives for self-redemption or God-realization ever meets with evil destiny. Whatever effort you have made, even a little bit of your effort you have made, will yield its fruit. If you have moved in this direction for some time, that much of result he ought to get in his life. That is what he prays. Krishna tells him. So whatever you have done, Partha there is no vinasha for him. There is no destruction for him at all. Who has tried to realize God for some time. Because any good work you do for any number of time or even the smallest time, that will bear fruit for you. That's the wonderful promise. But Krishna gives Arjuna wonderful. You note it. You go to the next one. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shichinam srimatange yoga brashto vijayate. Supposing trying to do yoga, he died. Halfway he died. He had not realized God. Then what would happen? Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. Prapya punya kritam lokan, he will be born in the higher worlds, in good position. Or he will be born in such a cultured family here, that Yoga Brashta will be born in such a beautiful place where he can continue his previous life practice. Such person who strayed from yoga obtains higher worlds, heavens, to which men of mysterious deeds alone are entitled. Having resided there for innumerable years, takes birth of pious and prosperous parents. Beautiful promise by Krishna. If you have tried and halfway you die, that's no waste. In your next life you will be born in such a place where your practice continues from wherever you had stopped in your past birth. That is the promise. Even if you have read Bhagavad Gita for 1 or 2 months and left it, take it from me that reading for 1 or 2 months will definitely help you in some time in your future. That won't be lost at all. That is what Krishna promises each reader of Bhagavad Gita. Go to the next one. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. Instead of going to higher lokas, next birth, he will be born in the family of yogis, wherein sadhana is a matter of, is a thing which everybody does in such a family. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. He will be born in such a rich man's house. Rich doesn't mean economically rich, actually culturally rich family. Etaddi durlabhataram loke janmayadi drusham. He will get such a wonderful life in his next birth. He will get such rare life in the next birth. Or he is born in the family of enlightened yogis. But such birth is, in this world, is very difficult to obtain. In such a place he will go and he will born in his next life. He continues. This is it. There is no end to this at all. Until we are relieved, until we get mukti, we have to be reborn. That is the concept of life in Indian culture. Liberation is the ultimate end. To that happen, you will go one after another life. Is this really true? That's a question we may get. I have seen small children able to recognize many ragas as very, very young children, or have such wonderful intelligence. I am surprised how would they get this in this life. I think I cannot. I have seen thousands of students in my life, so I know it's God-given. They are born in such a family to continue their effort to reach at a particular point which they desire for. This will happen, Krishna says, and which you can see also. Here I must also tell you another rotten practice that is there around. There are people who hypnotize you and ask you where you are born and give you a paper and take money, and that you are there in Africa, you are a great artist, but now you are born here in this country. That's such nonsense they are going to say. And that too taking a lot of money from people. I have been seeing these people around. Sorry to know that, I tell you that. And we must not fall prey to them. So, once Jagadatmananji was asked this question, where were you born in your previous life? He simply answered beautifully, I was born in my previous life so that I could come to this life next in my present life. So I have been a Swamiji happily, giving happiness to many of my disciples. So this is it. If you want to find out, they will not be able to tell you the address. So those people who tell you about your previous life. So don't become a prey for. But they may quote Bhagavad Gita like this. Krishna says like this, and I will tell you your previous loka. Come and give me my money, I will do it. And you will be saying only what you know, not that why he will be writing what he knows. And then we go to the next one. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labate paurodeyakam yatate tatatro bhuyaha samsiddho purunandana. So having born in such a family, wonderful family to continue his sadhana, he gets the intellect necessary for that, which was there in his previous life. And then he will continue. Arjuna automatically regains in that birth the spiritual insight of his previous birth. That will come to him naturally and very naturally. Through that he strives harder than ever before for perfection in the form of God realization. That is to say, he will continue his pursuit and reach God. Those who have done practice to some extent and in the meanwhile are dead, nothing to worry about them. They will continue further to reach that goal, he says. We go to the next one. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hivashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. And then he continuing, he says, the other one who takes birth in the rich family, though under the sway of his senses, feels drawn towards the God by force of his habit acquired in his previous birth. He will be drawn to that his previous life practice in this life. Nay, even the seeker of enlightenment transcends the fruit of action performed with some interested motives as laid down in the Vedas. So that is to say, he will continue his effort and he will reach the further next stage in his next birth. That is exactly what would happen to the yogis. Trying to be a yogi is not a waste. You have done some sadhana in the meantime. If one has to die, nothing to worry. They will continue further. That is what Krishna promises us to do. Prayatnat etamanastu yogi samshuddha kilvishaha aneka janma samsiddho tato yati parangatim. And continuing, he says, however, who diligently takes upon the practice attains perfection in this very life. So in this life he will attain perfection with the help, latencies of many births, being thoroughly purged of all evils, reaches the supreme state. So he will come out of that papa of all the previous life and he will get that highest bliss which he is trying to teach us in this Dhyana Yoga. That is what Krishna tells. We go to the next one. Tapasvi vyadiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodikaha karmibhyaschadiko yogi tasmad yogi pavartana. Underline this. And also remember this shloka, one of the greatest shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. He promises to us to do something. Tapasvi vyadiko yogi. If you are doing sincerely your work and putting all that you have done at the feet of God, you are a yogi. So yogi is greater than a tapasvi. Doing your work, you put all the things to God and you be relaxed, you are better than jnanibhyopi matodikaha. Man who knows a lot of theoretical knowledge, you are better than him. That is to say, you are a karma yogi, you do all your work in this world, which in this circumstance which you have to do, and put all the things that you have done at the feet of God and be relaxed, then you are a yogi. Jnanibhyopi matodika. Theoretical knowledge, person of a theoretical knowledge, you are better than that fellow. And then karmibhyaschadiko yogi. Man who does karma work with desire, with attachment to the result, you are better than him. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore become a yogi. Underline that. Krishna is asking us to become yogis. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore become yogi, Arjuna, he says. To me and to you and to everybody who listens to him, he says to become yogi. Who is yogi? A sincere person. That's all that he has to do on earth, in the practical life. And he puts all that he has done at the feet of God and becomes a karma yogi. That man is considered to be a yogi. Because he said earlier, yoga karmasu kaushalam samatvam yoga uchyate. Two definitions we saw in the second chapter. Yoga karmasu kaushalam samatvam yoga uchyate. So he says, become a yogi. Do any work you are doing to the best of your ability. It must be good for the society that you have been doing. And offer it at the feet of God and be relaxed. Be a yogi, he says. Underline this. We go to the next one. Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmanam shraddhavan bhajate yomam Samyayukta Tamomata. Of these yogis who do all their works and offer what they have done to God, better than these is those who remember God. Madgate Antaratmana, those whose Antaratma has come to me. Of all yogis who devotedly worship me with his mind and focused on me, is considered by me to be the best yogi. Who remembers God, who offers everything God, who remembers God. I think you remember the story Pump and Pray, who does all the work, but every time doing he remembers God. That man is a yogi, and become a yogi, he says. This is the beautiful and the most beautiful training that Krishna has given to each reader of Bhagavad Gita. This can be repeatedly read for those who want to do meditation, and repeatedly practice meditating, doing meditation like the way taught by Krishna. I hope all of us can reach the highest goal of seeing that bliss in life. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Atma Sammame Yogo Nama Shashtodhyayah. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.